Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Huge game this weekend. It might be the biggest FA Cup final ever. Manchester United against Manchester City. Manchester City aiming to complete a second part of a possible treble, and Manchester United looking to do the double after finishing third in the league this season. I'm joined by Boovy, and we're going to have a little chinwag about this game that is coming up. Obviously, if you don't know who Boovy is yet, Boovy is one of my co-hosts of the club. So make sure you subscribe into Boovy's channel. His link is in the description below, as are the links to the club. Boovy, how you feeling?
Good, mate. Yeah, I'm nervous. I feel a lot of City fans, myself included, think if we beat United, which there's a good chance we can do it on our day, of course, we'll win the treble. If we lose to United, we'll lose the treble. I don't think we'll lose to United and then beat Inter Milan. That's just how I see it. So I think actually Man United have got a bigger influence on the treble than they think they do.
You really think the emotions of losing a cup final could mean it has a knock-on effect on that game against Inter as well?
Yeah,
And vice versa, the momentum of a win could take you through that.
Yeah, I think if we beat you, I'm so confident of smashing Inter Milan. I think there's a lot of comparisons to you and Inter Milan. I don't think you're both top sides. You're not the European elite in terms of, there aren't many clubs that are. You'd argue maybe Bayern Munich are, maybe Liverpool last year. Obviously, Real Madrid certainly are. I don't think you are yet. You're obviously in a transitional season, and so at Inter Milan, they're not massively quality. And obviously, I'm saying that they could obviously both beat us. Of course, they could, with all due respect. But on our day, if we beat United, playing our way, playing our brand of football, like we smashed Bayern, like we smashed Real Madrid, I think the treble is looking very, very, very strong.
I do think momentum's a big one, especially when you do something like the treble. Obviously, one thing that City have had, which we didn't have in '99, was a lot of talk about the treble, because the league title was almost done. I know Arsenal kind of kept the chase going towards the back end of it, but the title race was done about a month ago. Do you know what I mean? Like with Manchester United's treble, it went to the last day of the season. We had to beat Spurs at home. Obviously, we fall behind against Les Ferdinand, so we never had that build up of, oh, obviously you've got two cup finals to complete a treble, because we still had to win the league. Once you win the league, then we had that momentum building. We had the talk 22nd of May. We have the cup final, and then the rest, as they say, is history. But yeah, I'm hoping that talk, the constant talk of the treble, when City are at the training ground, when City are, like I went to Carrington this week to like do an interview with one of the players, which is out on Stretford Paddock tomorrow, and like even me just speaking to the players and the staff that are there, you're like, come on, we've got to beat City. Whereas when you flip that around and you go to Manchester City, you've got people talking to them about the treble constantly. Come on, the treble's on, the treble's on, the treble's on. And that itself brings pressure with it as well. Obviously, City are a magnificent team. They could probably live with that pressure, but I'm hoping that has some sway in it. And this game at the weekend, this cup final, it's going to be so nerve-wracking, so massive. If there isn't an early goal in it, either way, I can see like it just being a really, really tense, aggy game, like where there's a lot of scraps on the fight, on the pitch, and maybe a little bit in the stands as well. What do you think about those kind of? Do you think the nerves could come into it for City, like about the treble? Because it's historic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just winning the league. It's massive.
I think the difference is that you look at the pressure that Arsenal were under from their fans to win the league when they were 8 points clear, could have been 11 points clear, didn't beat us home and away. I actually feel there's more pressure for Arsenal players playing for Arsenal than there are for City players playing for City. I don't think look, there might be pressure internally in terms of they want to win the game. I think if we lost to United on a take away the treble, I think we'd be pretty not embarrassed, but I think we'd be a little bit disappointed to be losing to this United side. I don't think this United side are special, with all due respect.
We have beat you already this season.
Yeah, with a cheat goal, and it's a cheat goal.
Yeah, but we beat you this season already.
But
we're not a bad team.
Take your Man United hat off. You haven't been you've been good this season. I'm not saying you've been terrible. It's been a better season than average, which isn't saying much for United. But it's not. You're not.
What I would say is though, when we've had Casemiro available, Varane available, Rashford available, which we haven't had all of these players available at once for a long time. Obviously, we've lost Sandro Martinez, but when you've got all those players available at once, it does bring a different edge to this team. And we've seen them in like we not. I know it was the Europa League, but against Barcelona, it was almost like a Champions League game. You knocked them out of the competition. You are seeing a team that are well geared towards cup competition as well, and those knockout games. And you've got a coach in Ten Hag who, look, Pep Guardiola's, you know, one of the best coaches, if not the best coach about at the moment, and has been for a long time. But along the other dugout, you've got another man who can, you know, pull something out of the hat as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think the pressure is about our performances. I don't think the pressure comes from the club or the fans. I think the treble is the result of good work. I don't think we demand anything out of our players more than we expect, and lucky enough to see as City fans. I think the big thing that you see certain trebles, and you look at the one that Barcelona won, the first ever in Spanish football history that Guardiola won in his first actual season as a professional manager. That was just down to quality. They won every game basically because of how good they were. And I think City, if we're going to win a treble, I think the pressure will go away a little bit, because I think the quality on the pitch is so extreme. If we play our way against United, I could see us putting 4 or 5 past you on the day.
I do think I do obviously well aware City could score loads of goals. We've seen it this season. You know, scored 6 against us. But I just look at Casemiro, Varane, and that, and I just think they've got something for us. They have got something for us. You know what I mean? They are made for moments like this. I don't think Rafael Varane's ever lost a cup final for a club. Obviously, he's lost the World Cup final for France, but for his club, for Real Madrid or United, he's not lost a cup final. So that bodes well. Who do you think City are going to start? Do you think Guardiola's going to do anything weird, or will he save that for the European Cup final?
Yeah, I think Pep's got a few big decisions to make. There is an argument you play your best 11 against Man United, you have a week rest, and then you play your best 11 against Inter Milan. And if you risk playing a weaker 11 so you can get even more freshness into the legs of players for Inter Milan, you could actually risk rocking the apple cart, as it were. There will be big shouts for Kyle Walker to come in, for Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez. For me, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I'm a bit of a pessimist. I think you play your best possible 11 at the earliest possible stage. And if an injury happens, God forbid, then you rotate after that. But for me, you start. I think you'd start 4 at the back, 4 centre backs. I think you play John Stones as a right-sided centre back with Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake. I think you play 4 centre backs, and that kind of 4 centre back 4 has been our best 11.
Would that be Stones dropping into the midfield and that, or would
popping into midfield? Obviously, you know, I'm assuming Rashford's fully fit and all that. So there's pace on the outside for Man United, and Kyle Walker, there'll be a big shout for him. But on the ball, when you have 4 centre backs like we've done so well, and Bayern Munich had, you know, so much pace on the break, and they didn't really utilise it against our system. So for me, Nathan Ake actually has to come in and replace Kyle Walker.
What about? I thought you was going to give the full team then.
Oh yeah, I'll go full. Yeah.
You kind of gave the defence, so I thought, all right.
Yeah, no, I'll go fully into it. So obviously Rodri at the base of midfield, Ilkay Gundogan alongside Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously a mixture of sort of the control that Ilkay Gundogan scored. I can see him having in the game. I can see him scoring a big goal in this final. I can see him popping up into midfield and breaking between the lines. It's a massive moment for Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, he's already scored an FA Cup final against Watford. He's already won an FA Cup final. These are the moments that the Steven Gerrard, Zidane, Kaka kind of midfielder moments that you're looking for from Kevin De Bruyne. We've already seen it against Real Madrid. I think we'll see it against Man United. The front three is again the kind of interesting one. It's kind of the back end of the pitch and the front end of the pitch for City where it's interesting. For me, it's Bernardo Silva on the right. I think his work ethic will contain Man United. I don't know if that'll be Luke Shaw playing there. I'm assuming that'll be Luke Shaw, but
because he has been going with him over Riyad, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think when he pops into midfield, he can play anywhere across the front three in terms of where he finds space. Riyad Mahrez can lose the ball a little bit. He wants to gamble, and that's why he's such a fantastic winger. But I actually think we've got to be very conservative against United, try and keep the ball and actually grind United down and make it a really big, hot pitch to play on. And then on the left, obviously, Jack Grealish every day of the week. I mean, a year ago, if Phil Foden wasn't starting in an FA Cup final against Man United, I wouldn't have been able to believe you. But I don't think Phil Foden starts this game with Haaland down the middle. Even someone like Julian Alvarez will be looking to participate in the game. But for me, that's the best 11 that we've got going into that game.
Yeah, it does make sense. With Manchester United's one, I think you're going to obviously see David De Gea in between the sticks. I think Wan-Bissaka will start this one, maybe over Diogo Dalot. And then you're going to have Luke Shaw at left back, Rafael Varane, and I think it will be Lindelof. You could obviously see Rafa Varane, Luke Shaw, and either Terrell Malacia or Diogo Dalot over on the left, which is a possibility. He's done that before, played Luke Shaw at centre back, and Luke Shaw's played well there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I think we might see Luke Shaw in his natural position, which would give us a little bit more going forward. Then you're going to obviously go with Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes. Is Eriksen back? Can't even.
I've heard that, I've heard that.
An absolute mare here. One sec. When was the game on Sunday? Because we didn't watch that game, did we?
No.
Yeah, he's on the bench, and he came off the bench, so.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go with Casemiro. I think Eriksen will start. Obviously, he's back, retain possession, keep some of that possession. And Bruno Fernandes, who I think is huge for us. We've had, obviously, Anthony Martial's out. Anthony's just returning from injury, but there's talk he could be back. So if Anthony's back, I'd go Anthony, Rashford, and Sancho in the front three. That's because, obviously, I love Alejandro Garnacho, but I just feel if we're lacking Anthony Martial, you've got Wout on the bench. I think keeping someone like Alejandro Garnacho on the bench as someone that can come on against tired legs with that pace, with that skill, with the ability to score goals. I think he could be a useful tool off the bench. So that's the one that I'd go for anyway. But I got a good feeling about this, Boovy, for United. Which is
what kind of feeling that me?
I got a feeling we're going to win, which is it's scaring me because I'm probably set for disappointment. Because obviously, all I'd say is if the favourites are Man City quite clearly.
You're nowhere near Real Madrid or nowhere near Bayern Munich. If we show up,
but it doesn't matter.
We'll play through you like you wouldn't believe it.
It doesn't matter. Like sometimes things like that go out the window.
Yeah, I think
it's not like we're a bad team, you know what I mean? We are a very good team, I think.
Yeah, but I remember going into the Champions League final when I was a kid watching my mates. I think there's no way Alex Ferguson's going to lose back-to-back against Guardiola in the Champions League final. He's going to make it tough, aggressive, and he packed the midfield a little bit. Played Rooney, dropped him in. Mate, you got absolute. There's nothing you could rationalise.
Different teams.
I'm not saying we're as good as that, but
funny enough, I think the Barcelona team was Pep's greatest ever team. But look, this one could possibly go down as competing with that if they do it all. But I don't know, something. Maybe that's coming in the Inter game, but something's just telling me. Be aware of United.
Blind faith, mate. It's blind faith.
No, I'll be aware of United. Don't be so confident because we've got something for you. What's your score prediction, Booby?
4-0.
Jesus Christ. Look, that literally could happen, but Manchester United are winning 2-1.
I'm sure, mate. In your dreams.
I know what it is. We're winning 2-1. We're winning 2-1, and it's going to be over for your treble chat. And I can't bloody wait. Boovy, thank you for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe to Boovy's channel as well. Check us out, both of us out over on the club. Loads of content up on there too. We've also done a video for Boovy's channel, which you can go check out. Links and all that in the description below. Let us know your thoughts on the predicted 11, predicted score lines, and all that stuff. Huge game coming up. Come on, United.